coming. Yeah, I'm coming. Guys, what a fantastic time to be a sim racer. Almost every major title I can think of has just released a major update, not even mentioning AC Evo releasing into early access next month. But there's so much going on right now that just watching the videos on your favorite games by all the creators out there is gonna take you hours, maybe days. So I decided to make one video and one video only on 5 titles that I believe that are still relevant or going to be even more relevant going into 2025. And of those games, I'm going to describe 3 points per game, 3 major upsides and selling points, so you can easily decide on which title to spend your precious free time.
Automobilista 2.
Here we are qualifying for our first ever multiplayer race in Automobilista. And as you can see, we are racing on the Nürburgring, the shortened version, in a BMW M3 Group A wagon. So absolutely great combo. Also the rain not making it easy, sliding everywhere as you can see. But this isn't just a random online multiplayer race, this is a ranked online multiplayer race hosted by none other than Low Fuel Motorsport. And if you don't know who they are an amazing online platform where they organize ranked races also for Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione. They recently added Automobilista 2 to their game list, so that's absolutely amazing addition if you ask me. If you want to check them out, the link is obviously in the description as we slide away to the qualifying finish. Alright. Gonna jump 2 more positions now, I hope. There we go, P7. Alright, edit setup. I know it's dry now. Oh, it's moist. Moist. What do we do with moist? Let's just go for slicks. Oh, it doesn't look moist at all. And we're off. First multiplayer race in AMS2. Just make sure we don't get caught up in some incident really early. Alright, so we got a nice launch off the line, and as you can see we are behind 6 Audis simply because they are 4-wheel drive, and as you have seen the qualifying it was kind of wet, so kind of hard to beat the Audi in that conditions. But I chose the car for the race, so I'm hoping to gain some positions as we do right away. Actually, we are now in P6 on this race. He's on the grass on the inside there. Slight contact. Can we make it around the outside? I try to, but the outside will become the inside for next corner. Try to brake alongside, but also gotta be careful here. Like I said, this is my first multiplayer race on Automobilista 2, and I must say the first impression of netcode is actually really decent. You can really race side by side. You can also touch without the risk of launching yourself into the abyss. And look at the top speed of the Audi. We're side by side on braking, but the nimble BMW can brake much later than the Audi. So we are still in P6. And as you can see through the Mercedes arena, the BMW is much quicker than the heavy Audi. And we can make our way into P5. Into P5, as I say. Still on the inside, I thought. Almost feels like a multi-class race. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into the driving experience of Automobilista. And before I say anything related to physics, please bear in mind that your mileage always varies. We probably have vastly different racing hardware, different computer hardware, we have different experience, different expectations, different muscle memory. Basically everything between us is different, but we're looking for that same feeling of realism in our sim racing. So please bear in mind that your mileage will probably always vary from mine. Now, with that said, I tried a lot of settings, I tried a lot of cars, but somehow the force feedback always feels a bit floaty to me, if that makes sense. Let's compare Automobilista 2 to rFactor 2, for example. On rFactor 2, you feel everything in the road as we make our way through some crashing cars here. On our Factor 2 you feel every bump, every curb, and that feeling I just couldn't replicate with Automobilista 2. Now that's just me. I've heard Dan Suzuki say on a live stream that he thinks this is the best engine for sim racing. Now, I'm not sure if the engine is directly related to the physics and handling model, but it sure has an impact on it. Let's see if we can do a nice good old switcheroo. Sort of. Now this was where Automobilista really shined for me. The netcode is just very nice. There wasn't a major crash, it was just a small tap, just like you see them and feel them in real life. Not that I've had many of those in real life, luckily. But also when you look at the other cars, when you follow them, they just look to be realistically planted on the road. For example, this tap, even though we decide to never lift and spin ourselves, the way that car slid through the corner, it felt really realistic, and it looked also really realistic. So that was it. Obviously it wasn't the best of races by myself. That's quite clear. But I don't know, I need to think about this. 10 lap legs, but talking 10 lap race, here we go. Alright, so this is a single player race around the what is now called Red Bull Ring. It was called the Oostenrijk Ring, I believe, back in the days. And now this is where I actually really started to enjoy playing Automobilista 2. Because if you look at the atmosphere of this race, it just breathes historic goodness to me. The track has the old school billboards and old school layout with a guardrail on the left and grass on the right. It's just a very nice old school looking circuit. And combine that with the car that we're driving, the Chevrolet Corvette C3R. It is from the same era, it probably has never raced here before, so we're recreating a race that didn't exist, but it feels correct. It just feels like it's proper to drive these machines on this type of old school track, and that is what is so cool to me. Oh, he's off! You're actually at the wall there. Like I said, this is where Automobilista really started to shine for me, because the AI just makes you feel like you're in an actual race, maybe even more than the competitors online do, because they also make mistakes, but they also fight very hard and very realistically, something that you'll rarely encounter online, to be honest. So if your time is limited and you just want a simple to set up offline race against decent AI, Automobilista could be your sim of choice. Oh, whoa, now we are off. Wow, well. Sorry. Oh, luckily I disabled damage. Nobody saw that, come on. Didn't expect the car to slide massively like that. Tire wear doesn't look any bad, like if anything at all, but definitely felt like I had less grip than in the first laps, or don't know. Well, let's focus again. Maybe they're just dropping, maybe I just made a mistake. That could also be true. Alright, there we go. I was silent for the last couple of laps because I didn't really know what to say about Automobilista yet. Because something happened during this race that I didn't expect was going to happen. And I think I enjoyed the single player more than the multiplayer. Even though low fuel motorsport just got implemented for Automobilista, I just think the single player experience is just a little bit more fun. Yeah, fun. Fun is the right word. It's just fun. So fun is very much indeed the right word. And I promised you 3 points. 3 points per game to summarize my feelings. So, Automobilista 2. Very authentic feeling single player experience. I guess that are 3 points. So we have one. Authentic feeling to the game. It's very easy to set up as well. That's 2. And 3, the single player experience is actually great. So those are the 3 I came up with for Automobilista. Le Mans Ultimate. Alright, there we go. The first launch of Le Mans Ultimate. Oui. Don't know why I say that like that, but I'm curious. I am a big fan, or was a big fan, of the driving in rFactor 2. So if it's close to that, and they can improve on the things that rFactor 2 wasn't doing fairly well, this could be good, right? Oh. Great start. So I took the liberty to disable the hands, simply because they were blocking my view. And I want to keep the wheel on for information. So these are actually my first meters in Le Mans Ultimate, and we are driving the Ferrari 499 around Spa-Francorchamps. And I must say the similarities with rFactor 2 are definitely there, and that is not a bad thing at all, because I really love the handling model of rFactor 2. It doesn't feel like a revolution if you compare it to rFactor 2, but definitely a good evolution, definitely a step in the right direction. So here we are going through La Source to start our first push lap ever on Le Mans Ultimate. We set the AI to 90, I believe, just doing a short quali and a short race just to check out what the game is like. And as you'll see, some things will never change. That's not off track, is it? It is. Oh man. I'll put the motor map back off. So this is the next lap that I didn't invalidate, and we're just going through Pouhon here. And I really wanted to show you guys this part of the lap because it's truly amazing. Using all the downforce there, braking a little bit too late here, going a bit too deep, but as you'll see on exit, the car really wants to rotate. I used a Coach Dave Academy setup, which are by default in the game, which is really cool to see. So I assume they're a bit more on the edgy side, a bit more on the esports side of things, but to me, the handling model is fantastic. Almost depleted the battery, and now I depleted it. So there's obviously also strategy involved. These cars being hybrids, of course. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I just put it to maximum and see where we end up. So I actually depleted the battery before we even finished the lap. So definitely still learning there, but it was an okay lap and it was good enough for pole. We're easily on pole. So I'm just wondering how the AI will behave when we pass them going through the field. So that's what I'm really curious about. Gonna do a 50-minute race and see what happens. Start now, or is it after La Source?
Green flag.
Oh, no, it's here. Watch out for the cold tires. That's track limit number 1. Alright, so I set the AI way too slow, but well, if I don't want to win, I'll join a multiplayer race, so I'll do that afterwards. Like I said, I'm really curious about how the traffic will behave. This is very enjoyable to drive. So this is the point where we have caught up with the GT3 field, and these are also the cars that just got added to the game with the latest patch. Here's the BMW, the Corvette, the Ferrari, and up the road is a McLaren. There are probably more McLarens, and the McLaren is also the free one, so you can drive that if you just have the base game like I do. Please also bear in mind that this game is still in early access. Now, I personally haven't encountered any issues. Well, I have, as you'll see, but they weren't related to the game. So this game already having DLC feels a little bit weird because it's still in early access. I believe the full content pack is now around 80 euros. So I think that is a bit steep for an early access title. But on the other hand, like I said, I haven't encountered any issues. And this same car, the Ferrari 499P, was also released into iRacing, and there were some massive critiques on that one because the car seems to be way too fast. So you could argue that is also some kind of early access car, just not with the label early access. And we get the dub. Alright, first race in. That was surprisingly amazing. I don't know why I'm so surprised by this, but R-Factor 2 was just this unpolished mess sometimes, and this is like the opposite. It's very well polished and very, very nice to drive. Let's try some online racing. There we go, first race in LMU. Starting second, got destroyed by Mohamed Colombo. Absolutely destroyed. In quali, out of line. Out of touch. Out of line. I don't know where the line is, my friend. Where's the green light? Thought that was green light.
Green flag, green flag.
Where do we brake? Cold tires. Some contact. Let's lift a bit. Don't want to get an off track in the first lap. Or slow down, I don't know how this works actually. It's gonna defend. That's good, I don't mind. Not sure why he hit me again, but okay. Maybe it was me. So if we can follow him because he was 8 tenths faster in quali. Oh, spinner behind. And almost, oh, spinner in front as well. So with P1 and P, he quit. With P1 and P3 eliminated, yeah, that's the excitement of the race done. The only excitement is going to be my concentration. Let's see if we can keep it. All right. My shifter stopped again.
The only excitement is going to be my concentration.
This is probably the end of the race. Oh, it's back. I had this issue before, and then this is gonna sound weird, but I like reassembled the shaft, reassembled the shaft thingy on the Fanatec DD Pro. So that fixed the issue, but it looks like the issue was back just for a second there. This game has a lot of vibrations in the force feedback, which is cool because it feels very detailed, but
not sure what it does to my wheel. I don't want to keep reinserting. Like it's just an aluminium die cast. I don't know if it's an aluminium die cast, but I think it is. With a USB-C at the end, where it attaches the shaft to the QR, and on the other side with the USB-C into the wheelbase. But there's this clamp you can.
See, there we go again. So no shifters, at least for now. I gotta push the wheel, and then it's. Simagic, if you hear this, I'm open for sponsoring. I already use the pedals and I love those. So, not very happy with my Fanatec hardware at the moment, and as you can see the problems only get worse. So I decide to disable my force feedback completely after a while. I just think the connector inside this wheel, it's a fairly old Formula Black first version, I believe, of the Formula Rim they had. And I think it's had better days. If I use the Gran Turismo thingy wheel, it's always fine. So it's not really a big issue. But yeah, it's less than ideal when you're in the middle of a race. And as you can see from the top left, G-Master, if I say this correctly, probably not, is gaining, and he is actually going to pass me now. So we lost the lead. Made this race a whole lot more exciting. I have a feeling the vibrations are just a little bit too much for the connector inside the wheel. Now it's almost off, but if we can keep shifting, I'll take it. So as you can see, we started dropping and dropping further down the field. And that also causes some interesting situations because we don't really have the momentum driving down to Eau Rouge here, and the car behind decides to go for it. I try to ride it around the outside and I'm not sure what he does. Maybe he brakes or gets loose, but we do keep it in fourth, at least for the moment. And it was quite a shame this happened, not because I desperately wanted to win, but I just wanted to give LMU a proper go. It really feels great to me, and I would actually love to see where this game can go in the future. So here we are coming up to the start of the last lap. It's a weird way to say one lap to go, because I think here this is the finish of the race. That's why I decided to go for like a semi dive bomb to scare him a little bit, and I do hope, as you can hear, that I get second position. No! Now I actually lift, and here's the realization. Oh, one lap to go. Dang it. I thought we were done. So probably a little bit distracted by everything that was going on with my wheel, but there is still one lap to go and we are in third position. So coming up to the last corners of the race now, I started pushing my wheel to stay connected, like coming out of every turn, so that way I could at least stay with the pack. It sometimes still wouldn't shift, but he makes a mistake here, so we're definitely taking the inside line. Doesn't give us the momentum to ride him around the inside. Maybe next corner. Try to be safe here. Don't want a crash in the last corners of the race, but it does give the McLaren in fourth a better run. We're gonna make it 3 wide here going into Blanchimont. But we are ahead and we have the inside line, so we do have to claim this as our corner. We got to the apex first. That's how it works, I've heard. I've been told. And try and brake as late as we can to force him around the outside on the first part of the chicane. They make contact behind and we actually finish in second position. Oh, we needed to shift now. Yes, we finished second. Somehow. Alright, that was a boring race made crazy by Fanatec. So thank you guys for in Landshut. Thank you for a failing wheel, because this was truly awesome. Alright, so 3 points to get Le Mans Ultimate as well. Point number 1. Very, very predictable, but oversteery handling model. I think it's cool. If you have like a spectrum of sim racing games, I think Le Mans Ultimate, or R Factor 2 Evo as I like to call it, is more on the oversteery side of things, but in a very predictable way. So that's number 1. Number 2, if you are looking for a wheel upgrade, Le Mans Ultimate will help you a little bit with your upgrade choices, because, well, you saw what happened. And number 3 is, who doesn't love this era of Le Mans, of WEC? It's such a great era to have a licensed game on, and if you don't love that, that's honestly on you.
iRacing.
Alright, there we go. Hypercars on Spa. Starting 7th, and we are going to try and make it to the end of the race. Now, before we get anywhere into this race, let's start off with the controversy surrounding this update, because oh boy, there has been some controversy. Now, if you don't know, iRacing recently updated the tire model for the hypercars to a new version, and in the process they not only made the cars handle nicer and more responsive, but they also made them a lot quicker, like a lot quicker than in real life. The differences are insane, and there are like a million YouTube videos and Twitter posts out there surrounding this update, and people posting their lap times and corner speeds. It's just absolutely mental. Now, I'm definitely not smart enough to understand the physics side of this thing or the force feedback side, but what I do know is that if I could choose between a realistically handling car that is too fast and a terrible handling car that has realistic lap times, I'd definitely choose the first one. This is what happens when you put iRacing in a... This is what happens when you put iRacers in a race where their magical number doesn't change after each race. So this was a race I did during the build week, or week 13 as they call it in iRacing. There's not a lot of official races where your iRating changes, so this is what causes most of the mayhem. Also, the format is a bit weird. There's a hypercars and a PV2 entries in this race, so not a format you'd see in the official series, but for week 13 it's good for a bit of fun. Now, if you're new to my channel, iRacing is basically my main sim, and it has been for years, so I always feel comfortable driving iRacing, so I might be a bit biased if it comes to forming an opinion on iRacing. I wouldn't describe myself as a fanboy of any sim, to be honest, but it's just simply the sim I drive most, so my muscle memory is trained for iRacing, if that makes any sense. That's why I think iRacing always feels the most natural to me, not because it's the best out there, but just simply because that's what I drive the most. Ooh, a lot of gravel there. It's also in this update, the updated particle system, that looked nice. Would have expected a little bit more noise in car. Last lap. I'm gonna need to defend again. And we skip to the last lap because honestly this race was a little bit of a crash fest. As you can see on the minimap, not a lot of drivers left in this race, but we're still in the fight for a podium, so we're definitely not quitting this race. And we also want to check out the differences between LMU and iRacing for myself, and about that I can say this. Now, to me, both versions of the Ferrari 499P are very enjoyable to drive. You could say for the iRacing version that it drives like an iRacing car. You shouldn't rotate it too much, you shouldn't lean on the tires too much, because if you overdrive the tires on iRacing, you're gonna cook your tires and you'll be slower. So it's more a little bit of an underdriving simulator. Not as much as it used to be, but you definitely can't drive on the edge of the tires like you can in LMU. So in general I would say this: if you are looking for a more smooth driving style experience, you're probably gonna be liking the iRacing version a little bit more. If you like to be a little bit more on edge, you probably like the LMU car a little bit more. I'm definitely not gonna burn my hands on saying whichever one is more realistic, but just drive the one that you enjoy the best, and I think this is a good starting point. So quickly back to the race, you can see it has kicked off and I lost 2 positions, or make it 3, in about 3 corners. So definitely not the best ending of the race here, but like I said before, iRating not in effect, so it really doesn't mind, and you can tell by the driving of the others as well. And let's look if we can gain maybe to a top 5. It's gonna be difficult, so that's sure. Not sure what he's doing, but I tried. So just a quick reminder in between sessions: if you are just as passionate as I am about iRacing, you should definitely sub to the channel, because next season I'm going to try and become an iRacing champion in the Porsche Cup. So this will be my first ever iRacing AI experience. This sounds a bit weird, but I never really felt the need to do it when you have that online system in which you can basically get a race like every hour. 15-minute race, no pit stops, just a quick test of the AI, see what they're capable of, and just a test because I wanted to do a single player race in every sim that I try, so iRacing is also up to the task nowadays. There we go, good start. As we get a fairly decent launch, making it 3 wide off the line, we have to discuss this huge elephant in the room, because yes, I can't make a comparison video about all these sims and iRacing without discussing the cost. All the content of the other sims, when you add it up together, the base games and all the DLCs combined, is around 100 euros. Yes, LMU is coming out with a subscription service. I don't know if it's live yet, but you can also race it for free. In iRacing, if you want to buy all the content, and I'm not gonna do the complicated math, so I just took a quick glance and I realized it will cost me over 2,000 euros. Yes, you heard it correct, 2,000 euros just to get all the content, and the subscription is another 100 euros a year. Now to me, that is simply worth it. The ecosystem they have built over the years with races in a lot of categories like oval and dirt road oval is just insane. To get an active race that is also quite balanced, because that's important too, that you can race on your own level, like almost every hour in every discipline, is absolutely insane, and it's just unmatched, and therefore it's worth it to me. Like I said, I drive iRacing the most. I got used to it, so I don't try to obsess too much about the physics and just enjoy the platform as it is, because like I said, that's what the true strength of iRacing really is. Now, I do understand that it's not for everyone. We have low fuel motorsports. They've had a lot of great success, and mostly in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but also Assetto Corsa, which has been out for a couple of seasons, and now the addition of Automobilista and RaceRoom in the future. That might be a reason to be a bit skeptical about iRacing. I can fully understand that if you do. Also, LMU having their own platform, it's just in general a great time to be a sim racer. But if you really want that active community with hourly races in every discipline, yes, in that case you should definitely give iRacing a try. So as we start the last lap, you can definitely see the AI in front has a little bit of a gap on me, almost 3 seconds in front and 1 second to the back, so we're in quite a little bit of a gap here. I felt like I simply wasn't quick enough to keep up with the AI in front, and sometimes when the AI tried to attack me from behind, it was a little easy. They weren't as aggressive. It's maybe a setting thing, but in general, I would say that it's very nice to race against the AI in iRacing. Like I said, it's my first experience. I just quickly set up a session, everything worked, the AI felt alive and not doing stupid things, not driving on rails. It was just generally a good experience. Now, with the cost in the back of my mind, I would say that if you solely want iRacing for the single player experience, I think you are much better off looking for Automobilista or LMU at this point, because the costs just do not add up for just a single player experience, but that's just my opinion on the thing. That's almost like an online race. Yeah, well, there's less carnage actually in the offline races. But the AI is very good. Probably with a bit of tweaking I can get some better races, but this was decent enough for a first try, for sure. So if you consider signing up for iRacing, here are 3 reasons why you should do it. The first one is obviously the platform. The platform with online races in every discipline out there, it's just unmatched and you can't get it anywhere else. It's as simple as that, really. The second one is that you probably have enough money in life when you consider iRacing, or at least that's what I truly hope. If you don't, get help. But if you do consider iRacing, you are probably rich, so congratulations. And the third one is you are now part of the sim racing elitist group, which means you can brag about sim racing on birthdays, or maybe even some internet forums like the iRacing forum itself or Reddit.
RaceRoom.
Now, I seriously doubted to keep RaceRoom in this video even after I recorded all the footage, but I'll get back to that later. Because the reason I put it in are actually 2 reasons. The first is the cars you are seeing on screen right now, the Super Touring cars that just got released. They're actually amazing to drive. We are currently driving the BMW E36, but all the other brands are on track as well. And the second reason being the promise of low fuel motorsport coming to RaceRoom as well. And this is a crucial one. Just frustrating racing against this AI. I do a practice session, and then I set my AI level. I do a practice session. I'm in the pack. We skip to qualifying. Suddenly I'm last. So I was already going back and forth to set the AI strength, and they just feel like they're on rails. Just not a very authentic experience. And that's a shame because these cars are so amazing. We'll see about the race. Yeah, decision. All right. I don't remember. It's a 10-minute race, standing start, obviously. See if we can make the rear-wheel drive work its magic. Let's go.
10 minutes. Go. Left side.
And we're off.
All right.
34 car field on Brands Hatch Indy, like the proper touring car days. So this is obviously a race against the AI, and I will try to explain why the racing against the AI doesn't feel really authentic to me. So we're currently racing on an AI level of 105, and that's not an issue on itself. But I did some other testing for this video, and I was racing on Knutstorp, a track in Sweden that I secretly actually love. And I could set the AI level to 115 there. But the only reason I could keep up with them there was because they were just somehow terrible in the last corner. I won almost a second in one sector, and they blew me away in all the other sectors. I'm not sure if it's me or if it's the setups I use. I tried to tweak some things. I tried to tweak my force feedback, but I just can't get on that AI level. And also when you try to fight them, they're pretty much ignoring you anyway. So like I said, it just doesn't make a very authentic single player experience.
On your left. Still there. Clear left. Oh, Larry, please watch the track limits.
Track limits, he says.
Your suspension's completely knackered. There's nothing we can do there.
10 cars on track, or on the grid.
Get ready.
Good. Let's see how we launch this thing.
Go, go, go.
So can the multiplayer save RaceRoom? Well, currently the answer is very short and simple. It's a very hard no. There are some official servers. You just have a browser list of servers which also have officials, I believe, but it's just not a very polished experience. I can't find my driver rating anywhere. I'm not sure which servers to join. Do I need to join the rookies or the advanced or whatever? I just don't know. So I just clicked on the first race that was available, and it was this one. And it turned out to be an okay race, as you will see. It was an enjoyable race, at least. And this is exactly where low fuel motorsport can come in very, very handy. Because I truly believe the driving experience of RaceRoom is up there with the best. If I had to pick one sim just pure on driving experience, the way these cars feel, handle, even the lockups in this game feel rewarding. And that is a very weird thing to say. So if I could just pick one sim pure on handling, I think I'd pick RaceRoom, to be honest. And that's why it's such a shame that all other things surrounding this game, like the multiplayer experience and the AI, are just, well, bad. I guess online racing is the same in every sim. So we have Low Fuel Motorsport, which is an amazing online platform with a good UI, a great community. I'm gonna fanboy over these guys again, but truly you should check them out if you're interested in sim racing. And if they combine the power with RaceRoom, with a great feeling, with a great driving feeling and an amazing content pool, I think they could strike gold. But it's really early to say, and for now, it's just a promise. Now, quickly back to the race, because this three-way battle for the lead is about to get very spicy. We try to look up the inside here just to get a nice clear view of the corner. Nothing serious, just to make him look in the mirrors. But we actually have to look in the mirrors because the guy behind absolutely sending it. There is not a lot of space, and yeah, well, in the next corner there is even less space because we do make some contact there. Now on our way to Stowe, he gets a good run, but we all know, and I've said this before in another video, you don't put a wheel inside into Stowe. And even this guy's behind knows it. He doesn't do a Hamilton on me, so we get through cleanly. But I decide to drive off track there and get another slowdown penalty. I'm not exactly sure how these work in RaceRoom, but I thought it would be wise just to sit behind because this guy seemed to be pretty aggressive, as he will prove right away because yeah, not sure what that was, but it gives us the lead and we're not gonna give it back to anyone. So we get our first RaceRoom win. I don't know. Maybe it is. Yeah, that was just a matter of time, really. We win.
Perfect drive, absolutely flawless.
Nice. So, like I said many times, even in a 15-minute race, patience is key. I never said that, by the way. So here are my 3 points on RaceRoom, and on the top of that list is definitely the driving experience because it's actually amazing. And I'm not talking about driving against AI, I'm just talking about driving by yourself on cool tracks with cool cars. That experience is unmatched in RaceRoom. Second of all, if you can't let go of F1 Challenge 9902 because that game was built on the same engine, so it's practically the same game, you could also try RaceRoom. And third of all, if you are an absolute low fuel motorsport fanboy and you want to grind that game so you can get a head start and finally can get those wins on LFM, this is definitely the title for you.
Bonus tip.
Yes, I'm closing this video off with a recommendation for GT Legends. I believe it was released somewhere around the same time as the Xbox 360, as it will celebrate its 20th birthday this year, but it's still really cool. What's there not to like? You got these classic machinery on a very decent engine. Yes, the force feedback is dated, the looks are obviously dated as well, but it's cool. You can drive the history of sim racing. The car selection is amazing, the track selection is cool. You actually have a decent career mode where you don't get gifted all the cars with wheel spins and other bullshit. You just have to work your way through the career mode. You actually have to play for the content. And that's something that's so old that it now feels refreshing, if you get what I mean. So yeah, play this game if you haven't. It's like $5 if you buy it on Steam. And just give me a sneaky thumbs up in the comments if you think I should stream this game. For now, this video got out of hand again lengthwise, so I will see you in the next. Bye.